let me jump to this story here from louderwithcrowder.com. Crowder's been suspended, guys. So we don't know why. Crowder doesn't know exactly why. It was his interview with Kari Lake. We've had her on the show several times. We've not had these issues. We've talked about a whole lot. Team Crowder writes, ladies and gentlemen, the Orwellian censors at YouTube are at it again. This time they've chosen to not only target Louder with Crowder, but to silence Republican gubernatorial candidate Kari Lake. Our interview with the Arizona gubernatorial candidate has been removed from YouTube over their alleged misinformation policy. Crowder is unable to live stream on YouTube for the next 2 weeks. What specifically ran afoul of the policy, only YouTube knows. But our lawyer, William Richmond, will be getting answers we'll share with you on the show Thursday, August 18th. There will be a show. I think this is really important, guys. If you guys are, typically tune in to Crowder, now make sure you tell everybody what happened, because they're having shows. I'm assuming they're going to be putting them up on Rumble. Rumble.com/C/Stephen Crowder. And welcome to the midterms, everybody. We knew this was going to get crazy. Who did we have on who just told us it was going to get really crazy? Was it Naomi Wolf?
Yeah, possibly.
I think it was Naomi. She was like, it's going to get crazy.
Yeah,
that was a good episode, too.
It's going to get crazy. Yeah, you think they're suspending Crowder. They're going to do everything they can to try and diminish the voice of those who oppose the establishment. They don't like that Liz Cheney lost. They're going after Alex Jones. They're trying to indict Donald Trump. They just took Crowder down for 2 weeks off YouTube. That matters. You know what? Just real quick. You know why YouTube matters? 95% of Gen Z says they use YouTube. It is the dominant platform for the younger generation.
That's right.
This is where people need to be reaching. The younger generation being forced onto Rumble. Rumble's great. I like Rumble, but it's not where the younger generation is.
Yeah, this is what Jordan Peterson was saying years ago when he was asked why he was going on YouTube and doing videos instead of writing articles or something. And he was like, I wanted to reach the most people. Yeah. So that's why I went on YouTube. Do you think they're going to indict Trump?
I think they are absolutely.
They really
absolutely
want to.
They are going to.
They have to now, I guess.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Washington, D.C., there is no justice in Washington, D.C. The D.C. justice system has been co-opted so much by the left that I do not doubt for one freaking second that Merrick Garland is going to find a corrupt grand jury in D.C. that is going to unseal corrupt indictments on Donald Trump for crimes that he never committed. I absolutely believe that 100% because they want to stop him. They've seen the polls showing that he is beating Joe Biden in 2024, and they want to stop him, and this is the way that they're going to do it. But it's not going to work, obviously. I don't think it's going to work.
What are they going to indict him on?
They're going to find something. They
weren't going to do it because it's a step over the line. They would just dangle it in front of everybody like, oh, we did a search warrant. That proves he's a criminal. That's what they're saying. And they wouldn't cross that line. But now what people are saying, and I'm starting to agree, because I'm not entirely sure, is that the move against Trump was so egregious they have no choice but to lean into it. Otherwise, it just looks political. So they have to come up with something to justify why they did.
They have spent 6 years searching for a crime.
Yes.
In every other...
And trying to fabricate some.
Well, they
fabricated evidence to justify spying on Trump, and Kevin Kleinsmith, I believe his name is, received a 1-year probation sentence for doing so.
And not only that, but he got his now has his law license back by the DC bar in good standing.
That's crazy.
And then there's the other FBI lawyer, the guy who just got acquitted. What the heck's his name? He altered evidence in an email he was another guy who altered evidence to justify spying, and he just got acquitted for it. He even though it was his crime was in writing, and a DC jury that consisted of 2 Hillary Clinton donors and a woman whose daughter went to school with his daughter voted to acquit him. The guy's name escapes. Or Michael Sussman. That was his name.
That's right.
Sussman.
That's right.
And but that's how justice works in DC. If you lie in FISA warrants to justify illegal spying on your political opponents, you'll get acquitted by a jury of your donors. If you're Steve Bannon and you get held in contempt by an illegitimate congressional committee, they will put you in jail. That's how justice works in DC, and that's why I absolutely think they're going to indict Trump.
And then what happens? I mean, we've already had so much crazy stuff happen in the past week or so with just the outrage. I mean, the guy in Ohio, for instance, a Cincinnati FBI office. Mm-hmm. What happens?
Didn't he go in with a nail gun? Wasn't it a nail
because
gun?
people think that nail guns can get through bulletproof or something like that. It's
that's
nonsense.
not a thing.
One of the things that happens is people turn on the TV, find out what's going on, and they find shows like this. So it's up to us in a lot of ways. People are kind of
they turn on YouTube.
Changing the tone of the narrative, and tone is big right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's why everyone's coming down.
I don't know what will happen, but what I do know is I think it's going to light an effing fire under the GOP base.
Yeah,
that's
this is
that's
funny.
absolutely what it's gonna.
I saw a meme that showed a ship that said MAGA on it sinking, and a bunch of rats wearing MAGA hats were like panicked and swimming away from it.
I don't think that's
and they
how
were
it's
all
gonna
laughing.
go.
And then I responded with the poll showing that Trump's actually his polling's improved since the FBI raid. And then they were all just like, all the lefties got depressed. Like, no, really? It's like, bro, you guys have no idea what's going on, do you? Like,
Well, they haven't
Trump
had any
supporters
idea.
are not going to walk away from Trump
No.
just because the FBI is going after him. They're going to rally behind him.
Right. And they haven't had any idea what's going on since 2016. I mean, you remember 2016, the entire media was like, the Trump voter. Who is this Trump voter? Who are these
Secret
people?
Trump voters.
And they still have not figured out who the Trump voters are or why people are so opposed to the going narrative and the current regime.
And and I'll say this: there's only one crime that Donald Trump has ever committed, only one, and that's beating Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
That was a crime. He was never supposed to do that, and they have never been able to come to terms with that. And so that is his only crime. That's the crime that they want to take him down for, and they're trying to do it.
I was watching a documentary on the Nazis last night, and basically after the First World War, the Treaty of Versailles annihilated Germany, took all this territory, put them in massive amounts of debt, so they felt hopeless. And when people feel hopeless, they look for a leader, a strong leader to help get them out of the trouble. When you look at the way people have been persecuted the last 2 years and been driven insane with COVID stuff, I think that people are like beginning. I'm afraid that people may snag onto a strong man that gives them hope, gives them a political. I don't want to see another Hitler rise to power. They've been like afraid of Trump and saying like he's Hitler. Like, don't turn him into Hitler. Don't do that to people. Don't destroy their hope and their will to live, because they will look for a strong man if you do. We just look at the past.
Bro, do you see that video? This woman from Fox posted it, where she's like, this is what it's like when you get to work at 3 a.m.
Oh my goodness, yes.
I didn't
Oh my
see
goodness.
It's just people fighting in the streets all over the place.
It's New York City, and it's people just beating the hell out of each other in the street out the window
it's
of
like,
Fox.
It's not one fight. It's like a bunch of fights all over the place.
It's a bunch of people freaking out on each other. I found that terrifying.
Yeah.
In part because, February 2019 or February 2020, before the pandemic, before everything went crazy, I was perfectly happy to walk around New York City at 3 o'clock in the morning. Nothing like that was ever happening. You never saw that.
Well, now it's normal. Now you have open air
Now,
drug markets
yeah.
and homeless cities.
But like, screw Eric Adams. Like, he
sucks.
he ran on cleaning this crap
And he's
up. That's
doing
why he
nothing.
won.
That's
Like,
why he won.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is literally why he won. And instead, he's focused on he's focused on going to Texas to campaign against Greg Abbott because he's
And he put up
anybody-
billboards in Florida about like how gay people are welcome in New York, as if anybody in the world didn't know that.
Anybody who still lives in New York, I mean, you just got to question.
I don't know how
Oh my God.
No pressure, Libby.
We've been telling Libby to get out of there for a while.
Moved. I live in Virginia. Virginia's great. We have a Republican governor. We have the only state body that's controlled.
West Virginia's better.
West Virginia. Okay, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But
I really quite like West Virginia.
Oh man, it's beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
but move
Chickens.
if you can.
The little rolling hills.
Yeah,
The lush
chickens everywhere.
greenery.
You go up on the mountain and there's like chickens just like everywhere. Like there's no, like quite literally like walking around.
Oh, you
randomly.
mean outside Chicken City? They've escaped, or they're just colonizing?
When you go into the neighborhoods in West Virginia, into like the communities, if you're just like driving down the road, chickens are like just out.
I had to get out of the car and usher one off the street so I didn't run
I
him
was
over.
in New Hampshire
Yeah, just
recently,
out doing
and
chicken
we
stuff.
were driving around. And New Hampshire is also very beautiful. And we were driving around New Hampshire, and we had to stop short for a whole mess of turkeys to cross the street.
So awesome.
Isn't it
was
great getting
awesome.
away from these awful
It was
cities where people are
beautiful.
beating the crap out of
We
each other? in the
rented like a
street?
little house that had a pool.
It's like crazy, and not only do they get the crap beaten out of each other, but they'll get out of jail the next day from a Soros-funded prosecutor.
That's correct.
There's also another video of people ransacking a McDonald's. You see this one?
Yeah.
Did you see the one where it was like some sort of like late night snack stand that these like three women,
The fries thing?
yeah, the fries, these three
Yeah.
like black women just trashed the place.
That was insane.
That
It was
lit-
over the cost of French fries.
Yeah,
It was
that
no,
was
it was
just
no sauce. It
ridiculous.
costs extra for sauce, and these drunk chicks just
They like jumped up.
got
They were like
arrested.
twerking on the counter.
yeah, and they were like
Yes.
just throwing like that's not like
This
how,
stuff's happening all over though. That bodega owner who fled the
Jose
city.
Alba.
because a woman came in complaining about the price of chips.
Oh, wait, no,
or
this is a
something.
different story.
And then no,
same one.
yeah,
Yeah, Jose.
woman came in complaining about the price of chips
Oh,
or something.
yeah.
Had a
Yeah,
knife.
boyfriend.
He said, "Get out." She comes out with her boyfriend. They start
That's right.
fighting. She stabs the store owner. He stabs the guy while they're fighting. He gets arrested. They let him out. He fled. Didn't he? I think he went
Yeah,
back
he went
to.
back
Well,
to
no, well,
Was it Puerto
didn't
Rico or no?
no,
No, well,
Caribbean.
well,
Caribbean?
didn't-
Yeah, somewhere in the Caribbean.
Didn't they like for a short time take his passport away too?
I don't know.
Because
They had him murder charges.
They put him in Rikers.
Yeah.
They put him in Rikers, like in a Soros-funded.
That's right.
You're not allowed to talk about how George Soros
Our-
spends a lot of money to elect DAs.
Our
but
culture has collapsed. It's all look. It used to be that people had scruples and wanted to do what was right. It used to be that when someone committed a crime, they'd be like, "We got to stop this and try and make sure the society can function." These days, it's just like, "Don't know, don't care, tell it to a judge." That's what you get. I remember I got pulled over when I was like 18, and cop said I was speeding. I wasn't speeding, and he just says, "I don't care, tell it to a judge." And that's the way it is.
Well, yeah, that
they
guy-
don't know you. They don't care about you. And if your life is ruined, they could get
That
a
was in
crap.
Chicago.
that guy's trying to fill his quota
Yep.
for the month of.
What'd
Oh,
you do?
Chicago is so crooked.
Yeah.
I got my license suspended, and then I couldn't drive for a couple of years
Oh my goodness.
because Chicago is as corrupt as they come in. You know, I really hate Chicago. I really, really despise the place, and I try to avoid going there. It is. I've been to so many places around the world. I would rather be in like a Brazilian favela than Chicago. Chicago operated black sites where they would kidnap people and torture them. There was for a long time, there was a guy who was
Wait, I read about this.
electrocuting people into forced confessions.
That's right.
I've had such crazy stuff happen to me in Chicago. I'm just like, bro, you do not want.
I've
and I've-
never been to
I'm out.
And
Chicago.
I feel the same way about my home city as well. I'm from Philadelphia. Philadelphia's become a mess. Like we
Oh,
have.
you're from Philly?
Yeah, like
I went to high school in Philadelphia.
where'd you go to high school?
Germantown Friends.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. I went to Holy Ghost Prep.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I love
They're in a
that.
small world.
But
Right.
no, but there was like Philadelphia. You see a crazy murder story coming out of Philadelphia at least like once a day. Like I remember there was one last week or the week before. There was this guy who grew up in Philly and he moved to Las Vegas and he came home to attend a friend's funeral who had been shot and killed because that's a thing that happens in Philly every single day because we have a corrupt Soros-funded district attorney and a terrible mayor. And this guy came home to attend his friend's funeral who got shot and killed, and he proceeded to get shot and killed
At the
as he was
funeral,
Oh
right?
my goodness.
as he was visiting home. And yet, so like, and like the mayor has just become a ridiculous person. Jim Kenney, who's the mayor of Philadelphia. You may remember when he shut down indoor dining in the city and then proceeded to go to get caught going to a restaurant in New Jersey. But he after remember the 4th of July shooting that happened?
That was
in Philadelphia?
crazy. It was right on the parkway.
Yeah, so the fireworks were going on and there was a shooting like as the fireworks were happening, so it was just complete chaos. But they interviewed Jim Kenney goes on local news after this and literally just says I'm not even joking. He says I am looking forward to not
That's
being
right.
mayor anymore. And it's like
He really
it's like-
wanted out.
It's like screw you, dude. If you're not willing to deal with the realities of crime in your city, why the fuck are you the mayor?
Yeah, why is he the mayor if he doesn't want to actually fix
But what
the city?
sucks is they're going to elect another mayor just like him
They
probably.
keep doing it.
Yes, you just got to leave.
They need Frank Rizzo
what-
back.
I mean, what's
Geographic
Yeah.
polarization
the
will
other
only
op-
continue to get worse.
like the other option is militants, like more cops on the street with armored cars.
You know what? Kind of, right? So in the early 90s, when Giuliani came in to fix up New York City, there were more cops. Like the difference was so transparently clear. It was sort of amazingly clear. So I used to hang out in Washington Square Park. It was always a total disaster. You know, you walk through the park, whatever, everyone's offering you drugs every 5 minutes, you know, as you walk through the park. Almost overnight, there was a big mobile police unit at the bottom of the park on Washington Square South. There were cops everywhere. And suddenly you weren't getting offered drugs anymore. You'd walk like all through downtown. And it was, you know, people just kept getting pushed out to the edges. Finally, Giuliani moved the entire red light district out to Queens, which hasn't been great for Queens, admittedly. But yeah, it changed overnight. Giuliani cleaned up the city, and then Bloomberg came in and paid for everything. And the city was great after that.
What do you mean paid for everything?
Well, we had a low crime city, so he was able to get a lot of investment in. He was able to get a lot of businesses to come back in. Then he used all that tax money to fund big parks projects. So he built up the outer boroughs. He did this massive parks program, and it was really nice.
Yeah, I support large scale police activity if it's done judiciously.
But what
They
is
did stop and frisk.
well, what is like an insanely sad thing to me happening in America since the Summer of Love that occurred in 2020 is from like the 1990s to like through the 2010s, violent crime in America consistently went down. Like, you wouldn't see that. Like, if you followed the media, which constantly likes to elevate this shit, you wouldn't see that. But violent crime in America went down for 2 decades, and it has gone back up over the last 3 years because liberal DAs have decided to not enforce the law in order to appease rich, radical, progressive activists who don't have to deal with the realities of the policies that they advocate for. But the people who are hurt by this, and the reason Eric Adams won, is because poor, working class, middle working class people in New York City who actually have to deal with the realities of crime every day voted for him because he was the tough on crime candidate. And obviously he hasn't done that, which has been a major disappointment. But we are literally reversing decades of a decrease in violent crime in order to appease the worst elements of our society. And it's an incredibly sad thing. Cities, once great American cities like Chicago and like Philadelphia, are being destroyed. And it's the saddest thing ever.
I don't know about Philadelphia.
I don't know about Chicago. It's been run by the mob for over 100 years.
Well, I'm just saying, like, we have great cities. Like, we have great cities, and they're being destroyed by this ideology.
I'll tell you, Chicago's
Like
great
Los
partly
Angeles-
because of the mafia, right? Like, some of the greatest stories about the old bank robbers and stuff. Really bad stuff. Really horrifying stuff. But it creates a legend and a mythos around the city that makes it somewhat interesting. But Chicago's reputation is and always has been pure corruption.
Okay, maybe Chicago.
Do you know why they call it the Windy City?
Because there's a lot of wind.
Because the
thought it was the
politicians are
wind as
blowing
well.
hot air.
It is
they're
very
all
windy
the
as
wind
well.
coming
It's actually
up.
not. That's actually not.
Oh, I
true.
thought it was windy.
Really?
No.
Yeah, I lived there 3
I
years.
mean,
I've only been to Chicago
There's
once,
wind
so I have no idea.
sometimes because you have a lake.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's
the
like not
lake.
particularly windy. It's like maybe slightly above average, but you wouldn't. And it's something all of people in Chicago know. It's called the Windy City because the politicians are lying. That's what it is.
Okay, but maybe Chicago was a bad example, but like Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York, like Hollywood, iconic American cities that have contributed so much to our culture. You can't walk in LA anymore without stepping on a freaking needle or in human feces.
I do understand that point, but I also got to point out, I talk about this news article I was reading from it was at Glenn Beck's studio. It's from like 1870 or something. And it's about a guy who was at a bar. Some guy walked up to him and put a pistol to his chest and pulled the trigger. Like, it was way worse. Crime was like way worse. You would just die and you stub your toe and you get an infection. It's gotten way better. The issue is it's getting relatively worse from where it was. It was really, really bad. It got really good, and now it's getting bad again. And we're not okay with it, and we shouldn't be.
No, we had a standard of living in this country, in our cities, and it
regression.
It has declined.
But like, what's going to happen is the people who have the means to are going to leave these cities, and they take their the tax base goes away, and the people that get hurt the most are low income people who don't have the means to move and are forced to deal with the realities of this every single day.
We need new cities, I think, too. So people leaving, like that whole Ayn Rand thing, where all these people went and started a new city. I like that idea because you can start at high tech.
Well, yeah, we still have great cities in America that people can move to.
Like
what was
what?
it? Galt's Gulch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Like what-
Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, for instance. Phenomenal
we'll get-
city on the river.
All the rich
Okay.
people, all the people of great merit will leave and make our own secret city.
Well, and
Well,
no
so-
one has to go to work anymore. Everyone can just work in there. All the
We
rich
just start-
people can just work in their house and
We just start
get
com-
Amazon drone deliveries.
Did
all
you
the
buy your
other stuff.
metaverse land package yet?
we just start communes of people leaving crime in cities.
They did that, right?
But you
Remember,
know
like
what's-
New Harmony.
Yeah, but you know what's really fun? Look, something that I learned recently that I thought was pretty wild is that it is now more expensive to live in Miami than New York City, and it's not because of like the crazy housing policies they have in New York City. It's because so many people are moving there.
Yeah.
Like West Palm Beach, which is where my company is based out of and where most of my coworkers live. In order to qualify for a single apartment by yourself, you need to have. They say that they like the minimum salary per year you need to have is like over $100,000, which is like the top like 2% of income earners.
Wow. Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.